Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. So today we're making Salisbury steaks in a caramelised onion and mushroom gravy. So Salisbury steaks are really delicious to make. They are very cheap as well, and if you haven't made them already, they will definitely become a firm family favourite. Now, the spice blend we're going to be using from the Malat range is their Montreal Steakhouse seasoning. And if you're not a Malat customer or you can't get a hold of their spice blend for whatever reason, then you're going to need a decent steak seasoning for this recipe. As usual, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end of the video, so let's have a look at those ingredients now and anything else we're going to need for today. So the ingredients for today, I've got 500 grams of beef mince or ground beef, one large white onion which has been sliced. I'm going to be using some olive oil for frying, 1 tablespoon of Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire sauce. I might also put in some gravy browning, just a few drops. I'll see what the colour of the actual gravy is before I decide to do that. 2 tablespoons of plain flour or all-purpose flour, about 4 closed cup mushrooms, decent size, which have been sliced. I'm going to be using 25 grams of white breadcrumbs, a medium egg which I'm going to beat. Got 10 grams of the Malat Montreal Steakhouse seasoning, 25 grams of butter, and 600 millilitres of beef stock. So I've just put 2 stock cubes into 600 millilitres of boiling water. So our first job is to make the Salisbury steaks. So I've got our medium egg in a large bowl. To that I want to add roughly half of our steak seasoning. We're going to save the other half of the steak seasoning for the gravy. I want to add in our breadcrumbs, Worcestershire sauce, and our ground beef. What we're going to do now is just mix this together. Make sure it's well mixed. Okay, so once all those ingredients are mixed in thoroughly, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be weighing this and dividing it into 4 equal portions. I'll wash my hands then and I'll show you the next step. So I've divided our meat mixture up into 4 equal pieces now, and it worked out at 148 grams each. The next thing to do is to shape them. So the technique I use is to take a piece of cling film or food wrap, place one of our pieces of meat mixture into the centre. Just gather up the food wrap on the side, and I'm just going to compress this down into the palm of my hand. And the traditional shape for a Salisbury steak is an oval, almost like a flat rugby ball shape or American football shape. So the way I do that is just to cup my hand like that and just press it down. And the reason for the food wrap is anything like this, burgers, patties, hamburgers, anything that involves something like ground beef or ground lamb is always best chilled before it goes into a frying pan or onto the barbecue. It cooks better, it stays together better as well if it's chilled. So just going to put that into an oval shape, place it onto a plate, So the food wrap actually keeps it nice and covered and ready, obviously, to go into the fridge. So I'll carry on, I'll do the other three. Okay, so that's the Salisbury steaks formed. These are now going into the fridge for half an hour to chill before we cook them. So in this pan I've got about 4 tablespoons of olive oil over a medium heat. So we need to bring that up to temperature. And then just add our Salisbury steaks in there. We're just going to cook these for about 6 or 7 minutes on either side, just to brown nicely, get some flavour into this pan, because everything's going to be cooked in here, including the caramelised onion and mushroom gravy. So after about 7 minutes either side, we're just going to reserve these Salisbury steaks, keep them warm while we make the gravy. It doesn't matter if they're not cooked fully on the inside, because we're going to be returning these to the pan and cooking them in the gravy. So next thing we need to do is to add our onion over a low to medium heat, and we are going to be cooking these onions, sweating them off for about 10 minutes. Okay, so after about 10 minutes of frying these onions off, all of those bits off the Salisbury steaks has come away from the pan, that's all mixed in. These onions now started to caramelise really well. So the next thing we need to do is we add in our butter. And as that starts to melt, we then add in the mushrooms, and we're going to be cooking the mushrooms on this low to medium heat for about 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Just until they pick up some really decent colour. Okay, so the smell of this pan is absolutely incredible. So it's been about 4 minutes now, gently frying these mushrooms with the onions. I'm now going to add the remainder of that Montreal steak seasoning. And you just want to cook that through for literally a minute. Next thing we want to do is to add the flour. And again, we'll just be cooking this through for a couple of minutes. We now want to add in our stock. I'm just going to simmer this for about 3 or 4 minutes. So just wait till it gets back to the simmer. And as I said, about 3 or 4 minutes, just to get it up to temperature, cook everything through. Okay, we now want to return our warmed Salisbury steaks to back to the pan. And all of that juice as well, don't waste anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover this pan with a lid, reduce the heat right down, and then this is going to sit on that very low heat for about 30 minutes. Okay, so let me show you this now after 30 minutes of cooking. So I've basted these Salisbury steaks about 2 or 3 times during that 30-minute cooking process, just to keep them nice and moist. The smell is absolutely tremendous. So for me, that gravy is perfect. The right thickness, the right colour as well, so I didn't need to use any of the gravy browning. If you want the gravy any thicker than this, don't be tempted to use a cornstarch solution. That will just detract from the flavour. Take the lid off, as I've done here, and then just cook for a further maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just to reduce this gravy even further, and that will thicken the gravy up. But for me, as I said, this is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to be serving this with some mashed potato and vegetables, and I'm going to probably just do 1 Salisbury steak per person. I think that's more than enough. So there you go, Salisbury steak in a caramelised onion and mushroom gravy. What isn't there to like? It's so easy to make, cheap and absolutely delicious. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.